Right. So in today's session, we are going to discuss about a case study, which is on service catalog configuration in part of ServiceNow, the business analyst role. Because ServiceNow is an application we know, which majorly we use for IT service management, wherein this can be integrated with different applications also. In the part of it, being a ServiceNow business analyst, we need to understand different scenarios and we need to come up with the business solution so that how this business solution can be implemented will be done by the development team, followed by this required configuration will be done by the admin team, right? So architecture will be developed by architect, right? These were the different roles. Now in this case study, I've taken one of the customer who is from the logistics enterprises background, wherein they have different logistic services they were providing for different countries across the world. So do remember they are already using ServiceNow as an application. Okay, underline this point. They are using ServiceNow as an application, but still they were facing some kind of challenges based upon the business expansion or the kind of business activities they are performing. So that they want to have some kind of solution for that. So as a BA, first of all, we must be knowing about who the customer is and what business situation they were in. First, we need to understand, right, who are our customer and what business they were belongs to. That we must be knowing. So to do that, there were different activities as a BA, because when you learned about business analyst, you might have gone through all that, right? So you will be knowing about the knowledge areas, right, from business analysis, planning and monitoring, enterprise and strategy analysis, requirement illustration techniques like JAT sessions, all that. At the same time, requirement lifecycle management, wherein tracing the requirements, managing the requirements, communicating the requirements, all these. Next, requirement lifecycle management, followed by this requirement analysis design definition. How this can be visualized by preparing some UML diagram like use case, sequence diagrams, all these. Finally, uh, solution assessment and validation by preparing some test cases. This is the whole life cycle. But when it comes to the case study, as a BA, you need to know, first of all, we must be knowing about who the client is. So for this client, these are the challenges generally we have identified, because you do remember these challenges, whatever are we addressing or the kind of expectation which customer has having, this you have to gather the information in different ways of communication. Either we may conduct chat session or conducting some interviews or group discussions, or sitting across the table or exchanging documents and presentations. These are the different ways of illustration techniques. So these are the challenges. What are the challenges? The first challenge is that existing functionality they are using, which cease to meet the requirements as their business needs are changing from time to time because of the logistics industry they belongs to, logistics sector they belongs to. It depends on the global changes or global expectations across different countries, all that. They have to provide services based on it. So their business needs and changes may change dynamically from time to time. So that should be the one of the challenge they are facing, even though they are using existing application. Now, in regard to that, what are their expectations? They want to make their change of application of ServiceNow functionality, which must be reflecting with new requirements that are to be added. So customer wants to have more business processes into the existing ServiceNow rails, wherein because they are facing some need to replace one of their vendor covering services catalog configuration. This is one of the major customer expectation. As in when in the beginning of the session I have told you, service catalog configuration is one of the expectation customer has. At the same time, that itself is a challenge which customer want us to address. So what are their expectation? Their required expectation is to have a service catalog efforts, so that this must be pre-supported to the customer employee request services regarding any kind of financial operations they are doing, all that. Next, employee equipment. At the same time, whatever the access rights which are needed for them, whatever the software and hardware information resources, must be conveniently configured in such a way so that they can send some emails, etc. All this. Next, it should be fully compliant with any customer internal business processes. Followed by this, customer is required some kind of custom functionality when they are submitting any complex service orders and all that. So these challenges, whatever customer is facing, we will be knowing when we are interacting with the customer in different ways, as is stated earlier. At the same time, we should also know about the expectation of the customer, what customer expectations, demands for all about that we must be aware of. So these are the challenges and expectations. Now, based on that, as a BA, we have to come up with business solution. So what business solution for the existing ServiceNow application? We want to add new catalog items, which are three. One is employee equipment category. Second about access rights category. The third one about financial operations category. So these are the three categories which normally we want to add. Now the first one about employee equipment category. Employee equipment category majorly the usage of it is majorly enable employees to contact the customer's IT departments about the kind of procedures relating to equipment as well as computer, tablet, computer as well as keyboards, headphones, etc. So that these are useful for them to support this category, wherein if you want to create any kind of dependent catalog items for that, whatever the items that we are allowed requesting equipment as well as filling equipment, handing over forms, calling the faulty equipment repairs, as well as asking for any equipment performance test. All these things are necessary. If necessary, everything will be done under the employee equipment category. Second, about access rights category. Access right category majorly facilitating of granting employee access rights and all. So, wherein by supporting, being our development team, we have to ensure our development team to create supporting catalog items for the category, so that whatever the reflected type of access which employees may require, namely across different tools or the kind of information sources or the equipment, everything will be part of it. Third one about financial operations category. Operations category majorly simplifies the process of requesting services from financial department. Whatever is required by the customer, whatever that we are going to create the following catalog items in the category. What is the invoice request we have, or invoice enumerants that we are doing, or any kind of purchase orders, or any kind of different request. Everything can be updated under the financial operations category. So this, based upon the interaction we had with multiple stakeholders, being a BA, you have to come up with what are the things that are required. Employee equipment categories are needed. Access right categories are required. At the same time, financial operations categories are required. How this can be implemented, technical solution, as a technical team, development team, they have to come up with. But as a BA, our job is to find out what solution that we have identified based upon the observation, based on the interaction we had, is something that we need to know. Now, end of the day, you must be knowing about the result, right? What must be the final result? Because when we interact with customer, end users, they will ask us, right? So what must be the end result, or what end result are we going to expect? End result from the customer point of view, their employees can conveniently request the services which are associated with any employee equipment or any financial operations access rights and all. Next, employee has an advantage. They don't need to have a full understanding of the whole list of categories and as well as items which are needed for the order, as system is associating over the order types with all necessary activities automatically. Next, at the same time, it also facilitates the process of submitting and fulfilling multi-level service orders. So these are the results, end result customer can expect out of the implementation of the solution, as I stated earlier, is something which, being a business analyst, we must ensure how this can be implemented, how this can be documented, and what way are we documenting. Are we preparing business requirements document, are we writing user stories and all, everything is what something as a BA that we have to do. So then implementation will be done, the subsequent configurations will be done by the development team accordingly. So this is how you need to understand as a BA when we are trying to understand any project based or case study based learning.